So I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally understand that if God didn't write the Bible, there has to be a way that the Bible is written, obviously. And so, how do we figure out how the Bible is written? But often, progressive Christian theologians don't look at the facts, they look at their own biases and they say, okay, we're going to assume that God isn't real, first of all, and then go from there. Well, what about one of the major theories of progressive Christian theologians that has fallen apart is the JEDP theory. So in the 20th century, this was universally accepted, and you were told, if you don't accept this, you're an idiot. But it has completely disintegrated because there is no factual basis of it. So this theory says that there are multiple sources that wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, that it was a bunch of different cultures that came together and they all kind of meshed into the first 5 books of the Bible. And the reasoning for this is because God's name is used differently throughout that. So part of it has Elohim, and then part of it has Yahweh, and then they have the other two, and then there's a whole bunch more. The problem is no one can decide where one stops and where one starts. And when you take Logic 101 in college, one of the first things you learn is that an argument from silence is the weakest argument available. So the problem is this is an argument from silence because there is not a source, there is not a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy that they ever had these sources. So we don't have these sources, we don't have a copy of these sources, we don't have anybody in antiquity saying there are these sources, whether Jewish, Christian, or otherwise. There is not a single person in antiquity that talks about these sources that make up the first 5 books of the Bible, and we don't have a copy of them, and we don't even have a word of them. So this is an argument from silence. We have no proof whatsoever that this happened, but you were always told, if you don't believe this, you're stupid. That's not fair because it's the weakest argument there is, and yet there are still plenty of theologians, plenty of historians that will say, yes, that's true, but it's just because they're really ignorant of the findings today, because it's really fallen apart within the last 15 years. Almost no one believes it anymore because there's no basis. And not only that, no one can explain where it stops and starts. So it's one of those things where the Christian explanation of this is actually super easy to understand. So the E for JEDP, E was Elohim. It simply means creator God, and they just used a different name for creator God rather than Yahweh, which is like a more personal God. So it's like saying my God or the creator God. So that's the only difference, and that's why there are different uses of the word God. So, sometimes they make up these crazy theories that they say, if you don't believe in it, you're an idiot. And then, so it's not, they're more honest about the nature of the Bible. It's often that they have biases that they want to, just flesh out, and they can't accept that maybe there's a God.